Hey, what's up everyone? This is Walter, and I'm back with another story I found on Reddit. This is part 2 of a nice guy story. I will link to part 1 in the description, and recommend watching it first, of course. Nice guys are men who will talk your ear off about how nice they are, and show this by giving gifts and favors, often against someone's will. But they're not really doing it to be nice. You'll see if you don't already know, so let's just begin with nice guy stories from Reddit. This story comes to us from Reddit Nice Guy Stories. Last time we got to where the OP finally told this guy off. Now he's coming to terms with it. Let's just jump into it. He had said goodbye, but soon contacted her again, of course, after about a month. Hi, blank. Could we talk in person? I feel that I still don't really understand all this. It just really bothers me. And I guess I need to hear it from you in person to understand. Or we'll come to terms with this. I think it would help me, and maybe you too, if we could talk things through. If you want to, hopefully. I already said what I said. Nothing I could say in person would be any different. Nor do I think it would change anything. I stated my reasons as clearly as I was able. Being in person will not make it any more clear. How unfair of you. To me, our friendship really meant something. I always knew there was something weird in our friendship, but I always blamed that you had trouble trusting man, like you told me yourself. I really like how he constantly brings up her trauma. That must be some kind of a power move. This man has no tact. But I felt that you trusted me more and more, and you also called me your friend a couple of times with a big happy smile. That meant something to me. It really did. Because before, when you were angry at me, because of the misunderstanding of me leaving the chat group, you said the same crap that you are saying now. That the people in class are not your friends, and you are just tolerating us, or in this case, me. I also mentioned this to you once as a playful joke after you called me your friend again, and you only said of course we are friends, after apologizing first for that whole misunderstanding of me leaving that dumb chat group. But I also noticed that every time you let yourself a bit more loose around me, and actually were enjoying yourself, you would immediately take a step back, like you were afraid of getting too close to me. Where before I could give you a hug, a week later I could not even touch you on your shoulder to get your attention. It's just like an alien trying to figure out human interaction. You let me hug you one time, why do I not get a hug every time? Where's the logic? She doesn't have to hug people if she doesn't want to, dipshit. But I always just hoped that you would get over that, so I tried every time again and again. Not because it was fun. It was goddamn hard to try to make you comfortable around me every time. But I felt it was worth it, since talking to you is really fun, and I love your art style and how you tell your stories full of passion. I loved how daring you could be on the street, but when we were in your room you always changed and became really timid, like almost hiding in your sweater and almost whispering when you were talking, while normally you speak loud and very clear. You also said something down the line that your decision never felt your own when hanging out with me. Honestly, I am surprised about this. I always asked if you wanted to hang out or get something to eat together. I tried my hardest to be respectful towards you, and not being too pushing. Sometimes you said yes, and other times you said no, so it wasn't like you didn't know how to say no. Heck, if I would invite you to eat some dinner or go somewhere in blank together, you would rarely say yes. And let me also add that you were the one who always invited me after getting some food together to your room. The one time I did ask this year to come over, you declined. Honestly, blank, this is why it bothers me so much. Your whole reasoning is just missing like the actual reason. My god, she doesn't need a fucking reason. This is why you can't be nice when you shut these guys down. She was being much nicer than she should have been, so you had to read between the lines a little, but she basically said they're not friends because she just doesn't like him. I guess that's not a valid reason. He's going to use past references to try to force her to be friends with him. I do believe it is partly true, but not completely. How could it be even? I wish you weren't such a coward around me, and tell me honestly why you dropped me like this. It really hurts me the way you ended our friendship. It came out of nowhere. It was made intentionally extra mean by disregarding our 3 years together and hanging out, and you just blamed me for everything, even if you said it was your fault. You just blamed me only, saying it just me and how I am and that we supposedly don't vibe, even after hanging out in our second year a couple of times every week. What am I supposed to do with that? Okay, look, Kevin. Take this from someone who's 36 years old. If a woman calls you creepy to your face and she's serious, give up on her. It's not going to work. And if you can't even get into the friend zone, then you're pretty screwed romantically. Calling me basically unpleasant and that I am no fun. I tried my best, and you did always smile while talking with me, but darn it, girl. I can't help it if you don't want to actually do fun and daring stuff and only invite me to your room when you're hiding under your shirts. You know, I always hoped after we are done with school that I could maybe hire you as a freelancer for projects and make cool stuff like we should. But now that isn't even possible since you made stuff unpleasant and awkward between us to the point that we basically can't talk anymore at all. I also don't really get why you never follow me back on social media anymore. I don't think I am someone you should be ashamed of knowing. A lot of text I know, but I will write a lot more even. I needed to say this to you. I am probably an idiot when it comes to girls and their mysterious ways. But I really don't understand this and why you needed to end it, especially the way you did. My dude, waiting for you to understand what went wrong is like waiting for the heat death of the universe. It's not going to happen in our lifetime. No idea how he hasn't connected this to the time he tried to put his arm around her and it failed badly. We always hanged out just fine, and I tried not to be too intimidating, since I felt that you were that easily with me. That is why I always let you take the leading role and asked you if that was okay with you. Sure, I tried to get you sometimes out of your comfort zone, but only because you needed that. And geez, you needed that for sure. Or else your whole 4-year stay in blank would have only been blank building in your room basically. And plus, you were always happy after I pulled you out of your comfort zone. Not that I could always pull you out of it, since you are really stubborn and afraid of that you might actually like it. Don't understand why you stop yourself for such a reason. The reason I wanted to talk to you is that I hoped you could explain your reason better and tell me maybe what the deeper reason was behind it. I also needed to hear why from you. I also hoped to salvage our friendship partly, so that we could talk normally when we saw each other again on school, and that maybe we could actually hire each other's services later and live. I kind of wish we could still be friends normally and just talk things out between us. I just don't get any of this, and you are definitely not making it any easier for me. I just feel like I did something that made you react like this, and you just don't want to tell me the reason because you're angry with something. But I really don't know what. Here's more from the author. He talks a lot about the many times we hung out, which again, I tolerated him being around me and engaged in conversation. The end. And I tend to share intimate things most people might not say in conversation. That is just me oversharing. It doesn't mean I trust people. If anything, it means the opposite. I say these things so people cannot hurt me with them. Because if I treat it as something throwaway, so will they. It isn't a weapon against me if it is not something I am embarrassed about. But of course he would misinterpret that as me trusting him with my deepest, darkest secret. Also, he is my classmate, a man I have to see pretty regularly, who knows where I live, is twice my weight or more, my head does not reach his shoulder, and his hand is big enough he could wrap his hand around my neck, and his fingers would touch. I may be a feisty bitch who can take care of herself, but I know when I cannot win. So of course I would not want to antagonize such a man, especially when he is clearly very socially awkward and cannot admit any fault of his own no matter what. Cleo even sat him down, one-on-one, just her and him one day, and screamed at him about all the things he was doing that bothered her. She got so angry she cried, and he did change his ways. For a week. Then it was back to status quo. So clearly he did not really care about making anyone more comfortable, as much as he likes to say he does. And this was the end. Well, till January, that is. Oh, not just January, this was New Year's Eve, past midnight, and I was out watching the fireworks, when my phone vibrated and I received this last one. I did not read it that night, I had better shit to do. I read it way later. But he had to have this one ready typed so he could send it to me right on time. Oh, and I almost forgot, since at this university I was an international student, I would go to my home country for the holidays, back to my parents' house where I lived, and would move back in after graduation. Well, he sent something there for December, before this January message was sent. And here's the letter he sent, along with a picture he drew of the OP. Let's check out the New Year's message. Hi, blank. Happy New Year. I don't know what happened between us. I have put a lot of thought in it and what you said in your text. I honestly don't believe what you said, since it doesn't make any sense, but I guess you have your reasons that you just don't want to tell me, or you can't tell me for some reason. I kind of hope that our friendship meant something to you, and that you were happy with being my friend back then. Being friends did mean something to me, so thanks for being my friend back then. I don't want a friendship if you don't feel good about it. If one day you feel better or stronger about it, just know that you can de-unfriend me, just as sudden. Don't worry, it's not that I am expecting that, or that I am waiting for it to happen. Just saying you can if you want to, but please only if you are ready and really want to. This whole situation with you kind of feels like a breakup, but without the romance and all the other stuff in a relationship. Is this guy really trying to convince me he knows what a breakup feels like? I don't buy it. Anyways, I hope 2022 will be a better year, since 2021 was really crap. Nothing but depression, friendships ending, lots of schoolwork, and no social contacts, and goodbye to loved ones. May your life be blessed with happiness, and may you become a famous artist/animator, or whatever you want to become. You definitely have more than enough talent for it. Again, Happy New Year's, blank. I left the picture censored, but let me describe it. He was in a minor for game design, and these are the two main characters of the game. In short-ass sparkly New Year's dresses. Also, one of those characters bears vague resemblance to me, to a point that I was actually told about it by Cleo, who also visited this minor. Because I was not there. She kept me up to date about what was happening there, and well, he did some weird shit. Now we get to some of his art. Oh god. So one of these characters is apparently obviously modeled after the OP. I'm assuming the one with short hair. This is believable because it seems like she was the only person being slightly nice to the guy. Though I doubt such a thing's really provable. The art's not really the best. And I would use these to file an official complaint. Because this is him using my likeness, in a public space, posting explicit drawings, where anyone could just walk in and see them. Now, the official complaint did not go well. I was told that because he backed off physically whenever I told him to, they could not do anything. So attempts are not enough. He needs to actually assault me for them to do shit. Sure thing, love that. Whatever. There are more drawings, which I will show in part 2 of this. We'll link it here when it is up. And I will also upload the email he sent to the teacher who was taking a look at my case and actually defending Kevin. This man told me all he could do was send a warning to Kevin, and how he clearly seemed to not pick up on social cues well. This teacher did not know and did not pay attention to what I said about Kevin. Instead taking Kevin's word for everything, which Kevin did not even deny any of the things I said, just telling them from his delusional perspective, and this was clearly enough to convince the man that those actions that happened, according to both sides, were excusable. Okay, so I haven't actually decided if I'm going to finish reading part 2, but let's do a bit of a preview for next time anyway. Just in case. So we get more pictures. He does them for holidays too. It's like how I'm out there every holiday trying to barbecue, rain or shine. Except instead of barbecuing, he draws horny pictures of the girl who filed sexual harassment on him. It's a tradition. Also, preview of the email he sent some poor teacher. Dear teacher, your response shocks and surprises me enormously, and I also think it is just rude of you that after a few weeks of not having heard anything from you, and I email you to ask what the situation is, that I immediately receive a warning from you with all possible consequences. I would have expected you to speak to me first, and frankly, to ask more questions about all this, after the conversation with you. You yourself made it clear that you thought it was weird that there is no direct problem for this, and that you would try asking blank about this. You are also giving me a warning incorrectly, and that is not fair to me. I will go on all your indicated points, one by one. But first I'm going to explain my side/perspective so that there are no misunderstandings about what happened between blank and myself, and you will also understand the situation better between me and blank. I don't feel like having any further conversations. This letter is the end for me and to this whole situation. I already told you that me and blank were very good friends in the first 2.5 years of school, to the point that we even hung out every day in the second year. For me, she was also my best friend at the time. Does this guy really think he could just push the teacher around with facts? Reminds me of Chris Chan's behavior. Also, he's mad like, oh, how dare you give me a warning? Why not just tell me? What the fuck does he think a warning is? What is the level below a warning? Just not doing anything? I guess that's what he wants. He then launches into a very questionable account of how he met OP and how close they were until quarantine. This guy is completely delusional. But anyway, it's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say, make sure you let me hear it in the comments. I will be reading those. Also, let me know if I should in fact read the third part. It might be worth it, I'm not sure yet. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more of the same and whatever else I feel like talking about. I have some material right now, so there should be more soon. Big thanks also to my awesome patrons who helped me survive the current food prices. I'll be shouting them out by name next time. Well, have a great day, everyone, and try to have more self-awareness than this guy. Not that it's hard.